I kind of wonder, like, how, like we were both like, now we're both pretty positive people.
Yeah.
Back then we were both like pretty angry kids. Like, I wonder if we met earlier, would we be friends if we're both like angry,
Or yeah,
both pissed off? Like,
we'd have been like angry friends together.
hey, you pissed off too?
Yeah. What are you mad about? I can't see my forehead. I was like,
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Joe's Funland. Today I am joined with a very cool, very special guest. He is witty with the words. He is brilliant with the beats. He's ridiculous with the rhymes. This is J-E-O.
Hey.
J apostrophe E-O-N.
exactly.
Don't forget the apostrophe.
Do not forget the apostrophe ever, Joe.
What's going on, bro?
It is great to be here. It is going good.
Man. Yeah. So for people who don't know, he's a good friend of mine. Also, he's a rapper, musician, audio engineer, pretty much everything. Yeah. Is there anything you don't do
You know,
in the music world, man?
There's a couple things I don't do, like the production. I'm getting better with, but to respect all the musicians out there, I can't fully call myself a musician yet, but I can get back into it because at one point I used to play like the trombone. So if I get back into that, I'm in there. Other than that, I got some nice producer hats, to a degree to put things together and make it mash.
Yeah.
But I like the little intro there, playing with the words.
Yeah,
I love it.
Spent all night doing that, man.
He's like, nah, not this
Took
one.
me all night.
Ridiculous with the flow. No. Ridiculous with the rhymes. No, I love it.
Yeah, man. So, but rap is kind of like your main thing, though. That was
Yes.
your passion. That's where
Yeah.
your love, man.
Definitely. My heart is for the rap. I love music, but like something about hip hop gravitates me.
Yeah, I remember like when I first met you, like that's kind of what we like clicked over, like we bonded over, because like when we first met, we like I think you were performing that one time, and then I was like, oh, dude, this guy's good, like,
Yeah.
and then we just started like chopping it up about rap and everything like that.
Yeah.
And that's how we became friends, man. But
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I remember you said, he was like, yeah, on my spare time, I'll be writing some rhymes, and I was like, oh snap. And then the fact that you would actually catch what I'm saying, because some people, they could feel it, which is good too. And or they may hear and see something, but then it just goes over their head, and you're like, nah, I caught that one thing you said.
Yeah.
And it's like, when people like the words, they got a special place in my heart.
so for you, like, I guess I'm curious as well. Like, are you more of a beats or lyricism kind of person when it comes to music?
Okay, like when I'm listening to music.
Yeah. Like
So
when
when-
you're just consuming it yourself. Yeah.
Got you. So when I'm consuming music, I'm straight for the lyrics. I'm like, give me the
Really?
lyrics.
Okay,
I do
okay.
want the beat. Like, depending on the mood I'm in, I can kind of be like, let's go with first time hearing the song. I can kind of be like, all right, I want the beat to kind of strike me. But for the most part, on my main basis of moods, I want the lyrics to strike me. I want the concept to strike me. So what you're writing about, talk about something, give me substance. But then also, that don't mean you can't be creative with it. Have fun with the wordplay. I call this thing barlicious, which is delicious bars. So I'm like, have fun with it and actually, be creative with it, because there's some people that will be like lazy with the craft, and I feel like that shouldn't be in music at all. But like hip hop particularly, I'm like, nah, tell me stories, be creative. And I do prefer like content that has substance, content that's uplifting. And then though every now and then, I may kind of get a liking to something that might not be my ideal preferred content or method. But sometimes I just can't deny that wordplay. Whoever is like giving it, I'm like,
Yeah. I feel that. I know on your Instagram as well, and your social media, you also do snacks. You just try different snacks, and you just like snack Saturday, snack Monday, snack every day.
Snack whatever day. Yeah, and because it was like snack Saturdays, and I was like, man, I'm trying to be like consistent to do it on a Saturday, or let me just pre-record it and then post it on a Saturday. But I was like, you know what? Let me just call it like snacks for eons or something.
Okay.
So that way, whenever I post snacks, as you mentioned, no matter what day it is, whether it's every day of the week, 24/7, or if it's just a random Sunday or a Saturday, I can be able to have a snack post. So yeah, that's what I do. I love trying snacks.
Nice. All right. Well, today we got Snacks with Eon special on Joe's Funland podcast. We got I brought some Muddy Bites, the cone snack. Have you tried this one before?
Actually, I have not.
Oh, tried it. This one's good. This one's really good. And I also got some kettle corn chips because I'm a chip fiend, bro. I love potato chips.
Muddy Bites.
Dude, these are really good. I actually really like these.
You know what it tastes like?
What?
It tastes like I just finished one of those, I think, drumstick ice cream cones. And at the very end, it has a little chocolate inside the tube. And you just eat it with the cone.
Oh, it's so good, man. I don't even normally have like a sweet tooth, but for these, like I eat the whole bag by myself. I'll eat the whole thing by myself.
Like I'm like a heavy snacker. I'm trying to, replace some where if I'm driving or out and about and, traffic gets a little heavy, I could probably pop some muddy bites, or some chips. I do like the sweets, but I'm not gonna limit it to those. Like I might try to grab some healthy snacks, but for the most part, it'd be those. I got like sweet tooth.
You have more of a sweet tooth, or you're more of a savory snack kind of guy?
More of a sweet tooth side of things. Yeah.
Okay.
But there's times people will always see me with snacks and they might be like chips, but it's like, oh, just because they came in like a nice bulk at a good price. But other than that, give me those Oreos, which is favorite, by the way. Like, give me the Oreos. Give me, I guess now, Muddy Bites. Give me some M&Ms and give me some Snickers. Give me some Reese's. So that's me.
Nice. Nice. I just noticed, is that your merch shirt?
Actually, somebody had, one of my family members had made it for me. They were
Oh,
like,
dang.
oh yeah, happy birthday. And I was like, ooh, I like this. On the back, it got the Eon for Eons album logo.
Oh, can I
onto
see it? Can I
Oh,
see
yeah,
it?
yeah. Should I turn?
Oh, that's fire, dude. That is cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it's got a QR code on the side too.
Yeah,
on
so
the
QR code on the sleeve.
Yeah.
So that way people are able to scan and get the album. So a lot of times when I remember one of the times we met and I was performing in a mall, it was like a good one just to wear there because a lot of people always forget the apostrophe in my name. So it's like J'_EON, and they think they'll find me without it. But I'm like, no, you got to get that apostrophe in there. But then to easily like have my hands free, I don't always have the cards with me. I generally try to, but I can just be like, yo, scan the side right here. You'll have the link. You'll have the album.
Yeah.
And then on the side is like a slogan that I usually say, music with a message, music with a purpose. And that's what I strongly believe. Hence, I guess one of the last questions that we had.
Yeah. Let's get into that. Just because like I know music has been a huge part of your life. Mine too.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I was a kid, I've always been involved in music some way or somehow, and just like I've always loved. I grew up playing piano, and then I was pretty involved at my church doing like worship and stuff like that. But I loved like rap and hip hop, and that was my first like love of music, where I actually like genuinely appreciated music, right? And I was like, oh, this is like next level stuff.
Right.
Yeah. But I guess like, what was that for you? Like, how did you discover your passion or your love for music, stuff like that?
So yeah, the way that I discovered like my passion for music, it was like being surrounded in my church youth department. A lot of my peers were doing music and like giving like a little quick talent show, whether they were singing in the choir already, or there were some rappers there. And I'm like, oh, they're able to move the crowd, encourage people. And I'm like, oh, that seems fun. But I've always, even before then, during then, I always had like a interest and a fascination for like hip hop. Just hearing music and hearing how people put things together through words. I was like, yo, I kind of want to do that. And like the way that it bridges people together. So during that time, I ended up writing like a quick little acapella, and I showed my brother, and he was like, "This pretty good." He's like, "You should probably do it at the church the next time they like have that moment of opportunity." In the youth department, and I was like, "Okay." And so one time they did it, and I was like, "Nah, I'm not about to, go up there just because I just didn't feel like I should, I was like, just wrote something, and I can't remember if it was either that time or the next time they end up saying, hey, we have, another opportunity again. It was probably later that day. Like they just opened it up again. And then my brother was like, yo. And then everybody saw him pointing at me and it was like, oh, come up here. Cause they were familiar with me, but no one knew that I even cared to write or do music. And I was like, okay, here's just a verse, something slight, whatever. I went up there. It was just straight a cappella. And I remember doing it. And once I got to certain parts, people were like, oh, and then once I got like halfway through, close to the end, people literally, I kid you not, started flipping over chairs, jumping over chairs, running around like, oh, snap, because of something I said. I can't even remember the whole thing itself. But with it, they were just going crazy, and seeing their reaction, that brought me joy. But then also to be like, yo, I guess I have an actual shot at this, might be good at it in general. And then some other people kind of like encouraged me, to do more about it. And then, started doing that, went to the studio, and was able to actually get, my first physical full studio session, with Opportunity Knocks, actually.
Shout out to Opportunity Knocks.
Shout out to Opportunity Knocks. And so was able to record there, and the peers there, they were all supportive. The environment, they were encouraging, and they were like, come on, you can do this, you got this. And so whatever verse I had at that time, laid it out, and it was like a group song. Everybody was on it, and everybody like loved it. And just from that point on, I was like, I like doing this. Let me continue to do this. And I see the way that it can impact people. Overall, like I did ask God about it, and I probably should have written down or documented the signs that he gave me that I asked for, so I could remember. But unfortunately, I do not remember. But I know that I'm like, oh, he showed me this. That was God. He showed me this. Was it? And I seen something else. Okay, that was God. And then come to think of it, that other thing I did ask for, and I was wondering why that happened. That was God. So this is like the direction, like kind of like confirmation. But I can't even pinpoint those exact things anymore because I didn't write them down. So that's a good note right there, just to like make sure have stuff documented of what God shows you, so you can always like reflect on his goodness like that. Yeah. So, but that was one of those things. And then lastly, I was able to see that it can impact people, encourage people, and I felt like that is exactly what God wants me to use this as a tool for, and reach out to that lost sheep that may have left the 99 to help reel them back in. So yeah.
Is that where Music with a Message came from, or?
Yeah, actually, music with a message, music with a purpose. So the message, you want it to be able to gravitate others, people that listen to it. They got to have something to relate to, but also I want the message to have like some content with substance. And ultimately for me, it comes through faith. And so with that, you got the purpose as well, music with a purpose. Same thing where it's like, I do believe God gives me a calling in this direction to do it for a certain reason, for a certain crowd, for whomever is hearing, to be able to, like I said, bring back that lost sheep, win them over. But then also for the people who love God and just want to be able to hear some good music, some creative music, that doesn't invoke them to do things that may not be their current way of living. Like, hey, everybody ain't got to tote a gun. Everybody ain't got to, go to strip clubs and things like that. So yeah, that's the message. That's also with a purpose, with intent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know, like, especially me and you both, like, we also have that same connection because of our faith. We're both Christians. And just like, I'm curious, I don't think I've ever asked you this before, even like, or heard this side of your story, but like, how did you come to know like God, and how did that become like a big part of your life, where like even in your music you're talking about it and like trying to promote that stuff? So like,
that's a good one. I would say the way
so
that
good.
Sorry. I was thinking about that. I was like, after I ask this question, I'm gonna get him muddy, but after I give him a clean answer of God and stuff, I'm gonna get him muddy. It's actually Muddy Bites. dirty up my mouth with a muddy bite. No, I'm joking. I might have to get you to re-ask that question again. You said, how did I come to the things of God?
Let's try that again. Yeah, let's try that again. So, yeah, how did you, because I don't think I've ever heard this story from you. Like, how did you come to know God, and how did that become such a big part of your life where it's like, a message in your music, a message in your life? Like, how did that all come to be?
Got you. So, yeah, I mean, I always grew up in the church. And so with being surrounded by church people, the teachings itself, it's always been something that was at an easy grasp for me, right? However, I didn't go deep into it till like maybe like somewhere still as a kid, kind of middle schoolish, where I realized, and it was a little bit what some people were telling me, but I realized I can't be trying to help people, encourage people, while with love and joy and peace, and all of the fruits of the Spirit of God, while being like an angry kid. I used to walk around like angry a lot, mad at things, or sometimes short-tempered. But now it takes like a whole lot to get me mad. But the thing was, with that, I'm like, I can't like talk to people about God and what I actually believe, he's done for me and what he can do for them, walking around with a scowl on my face all the time, lacking the joy, not showing love because I'm busy showing like anger and operating in anger. So I'm like, that doesn't really work. And so from that, I'm like, let me seek out how I can reflect how Jesus did it and do my best to actually model that with intention. And so doing that, throughout that pathway, I'm able to like dive into the word, see how that can actually be applied to my life, and take my faith serious. So that's what it was at a young age, around maybe 10-ish.
Dude, it's hard to like imagine you as like, I don't know, because ever since I've known you, you've always had a smile on your face. Like, it's hard for me to picture you as like a scowl, like angry, like it doesn't make sense in my head.
That's good. I mean, that transformation,
Amen, dude. God is good, man. God is good.
All the time.
Yeah. I'm just like in my head, I'm just trying to picture you like mad. Like, I'm like, I can't even picture that.
Look something like this. Like, is he angry or is he pretending? I remember somebody, I got this song called Lolo off of the Eons for Eons album. And there's a segment towards the end. I'm talking about things going on, you experience some highs, you experience some lows, and where a lot of stuff is like hitting me at the same time, more like in the same season. And I was talking about like the passing of like 2 granddads, like within that same like year, same season, damn, or whatnot. And then for some reason I go to work, and somebody goes, like, they're talking and they're like, yeah, I bet you never have a bad day. And I was like, what you talking about? Because I'm, actually having fun, a smile on my face, make sarcastic comics, but at the same time, want to encourage other people that I'm talking to. And I was like, I just got dropped off to work because my car was having issues, got stolen, and, and everything else I mentioned was kind of just going on in that similar time frame. And I was just like, but I'm still smiling through it,
Yeah.
And so, however, I was just like, that just means that transformation is real. It's all God, right?
That's powerful, man. That's powerful.
But they couldn't even believe it though. Either like, nah, you ain't never used to be mad. You ain't never used to get in trouble a bunch of times. I bet you got no whoopings. I was like, I got the most in my family. Like, what you mean? Not trying to brag about it because there's nothing to brag about. Some people try to brag about their past. Like, yeah, man, I used to be pistol whipping everybody. I was like, okay, yeah, no,
chill.
Chill. It may be true, but some people be like, flexing in it. But I'm just saying, like, okay, that's that, and I've learned to kind of just be able to mention and be like, hey, it was what I said it was, but at the same time, I don't need to fight you tooth and nail to be like, no, this is where I was. I can just be like, yo, great. I recognize what God has brought me out of, so much so that you don't realize it, but even more so that you can't even fathom it once it's revealed to you. Like that's where you came from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's like, in a way, that's even more like confirmation for you as well. Just like, because only you really know how far you came from where you were. And like, in that sense, like the fact that people are telling you that like, oh, I could never see that side of you. Like, I never would have imagined that. Like, that's kind of more confirmation for you that like, oh yeah, like that was real change. Like that, you know, and that's incredible, dude. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way, dude. Because I kind of like relate to that as well. Because when I was a teenager, I was a pissed off teenager too. I walked around with a chip on my shoulder, like I was just, and yeah, I got in a lot of fights with like my parents, just because like, yeah, but yeah, thankfully, like, you know, things happened, and you know, God, I truly believe, you know, God changed my heart and kind of like took a lot of that anger away. From me, and so now I'm trying to be more like you know, be positive, always be smiling, trying to like, you know, spread positivity and good energy and good vibes.
That's funny because I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that part about you. And look, that's why how we even naturally connected too, because we're like, yeah, you know, we're happy, positive energy kind of people, and then we're like, but in the past we were the opposite. There was something I heard. Where it's almost like I might be butchering it, so I'm just going to paraphrase it. Where that basically whatever you are going through, or wherever you need to be going. So let's just say we're going to talk about like the joy, right? Us having a smile on our face. Let's say that's the direction that we need to be going. That is something that for our character is going to be God's strength in us. Well, the joy of the Lord is our strength. But it's like that is going to be something that we shine to the people throughout our lives. Other people might have other characteristics, but let's just say it's that joy for us, right? Just to put it in pocket. It's like that will be the thing that's going to give us the resistance. So we started off, you and I, like, oh man, as angry kids, maybe violent kids, whatever. And it's like, okay, well, that would seem like the opposite of joy. Like I'm gonna stir up anger, and what it looks like is malice and hate, you know, coming out. When with the joy is going to look like a light load, something burden lifting to be around. You know what I mean? And with that, it's like the enemy make that pathway the harder challenge. You know, and so that can be applied to everything outside of even personality. Just put that in a finite sense. But I remember somebody saying that for like the path that you're going, oh, you're meant to lead people. Okay, well then you're going to probably have like, matter of fact, encourage people. Let's go with that. Lead and encourage people. But instead, you're going to be the one with the low self-esteem probably, or the one not feeling you're not good enough, you know. So that way the devil can try to use that to be like, yo, you're going to think that you're not good enough. So it's going to be harder for you to encourage others and tell them that they're good enough, right? Or as you do, you're going to uplift them, but downplay yourself more, and I'm going to get you more in the hole, you know, so I can take you out, you know. So whatever that is, that resistance generally comes like in opposition.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true. It's a contrast. That's what it is. Yeah, that's like what you said. Like if you want to be this, then you have to go through this. It's that contrast, you know? Yeah. Dang. That's life, man.
Yeah.
That's life. I kind of wonder, like, you know, how, like we were both like, now we're both pretty positive people.
Yeah.
Back then we were both like pretty angry kids. Like, I wonder if we met earlier, would we be friends if we're both like angry?
Or yeah, we'd
pissed off. Like,
we'd have been like angry friends together.
Hey, you pissed off too?
Yeah. What are you mad about? I can't see my forehead. I was like, there would be some reason. It's like, oh, or what we have like met each other and then found a reason to fight with each other. But I think, you know how they say like birds of a feather flock together. But I still seen like there's this one video me and my friends will share it because it was like funny to look at. But we're like, let's try to not get to that level. It's like really toxic. But it was like some kids were in the car driving. So I guess teenager kids. And one of the guys in the back was like, bro, stop, or whatever he was saying. Not like stop the car, but he was just like, yo, stop, chill out, like, bro. And they was just like yelling like fiercely at each other. The other person was just like literally egging them on. And then the main person that he's yelling at is like, just like, kind of like commenting on like, nah, bro, this, that, and the third, and like just joning them or whatever, roasting them, flaming them, all that. And I'm just like, that's toxic. And then while he's yelling, he's like, yeah, nah, I'm trying to tell you because I love you, dog. Yeah, some shit. And I'm just like, nah, bro, stop doing that. And I was just like, yeah, those are the, kind of birds of a feather that might flock together. But at the same time, it's not always healthy because at the end of the day, they may, start hooking and be like, yeah, he cracked my skull open, but we friends. Nah, it ain't your real friends if, they got to look down on you like that, if they got to use you as a step stool, if in order, like, your group of friends, they got to make fun of you to outward people that y'all don't even know to a whole nother level, just so that way they can get the laughs and the likes and the pats on the back. Yeah. Any of those kind of nature, I'd be like, nah, that junk gets toxic. So, however, we could have been friends, but we could have either been in that and been toxic, or we could have ended up being like, we could have just been like cool and be like, you know what? Yeah, he cool. I don't need to, flex with him because, it seemed like he got an anger problem. And then the time that I want to chill, he probably gonna be mad, vice versa. So, you know what? Cool, man. I don't want no problems with you. Yeah. And then, we good. Yeah, we can mope together somewhere. Frowny faces and all.
Oh, that's so funny, man.
Yeah.
I so kind of going back to the music thing too, like what
No, I'm joking.
No, you good.
Go ahead.
All right. I wanted to ask you, like, who are your inspirations in music? Like, if you have any.
So my inspiration in music, that's a good one. I would say I would definitely have to give it to you know what? I'm gonna say Michael Jackson.
Okay.
And this is, and I got one other person, but I'm gonna start off with Michael Jackson. So with Michael Jackson, I love the way that he would bridge the gap through cultures, bring people together through his music. The way that he storytells in song and video was unique. And he was a great performer, of course. But with that, that was actually like my first artist I consider like, oh, this is my favorite artist in general. Mm-hmm. And obviously I'm not like super old or nothing like that. So this is still like early 2000s when I'm like listening to his music, that's been out and stuff like that. And when it was recently coming out with an album, one of my favorite albums is the one that has butterflies on it. And Rock My World, that is his Invincible album. However, so just his creativeness, that work of art, that bridging people together through music, and the storytelling, like Smooth Criminal, nice story. I love it. So I was like, okay, that definitely inspired me. And I used to listen to a lot of Michael Jackson. Now on the hip hop side of things, that really kind of almost like edged me to be like, I kind of want to start making music too. But listening to cleaner music, conscious content, Christian, any of those ranges, was an artist by The Truth. He goes by Emmanuel now, which I do think, since his full name is like Emmanuel Lambert. I think there's like some other Emmanuels out there, but when I'm like looking for music, because I remember once he changed his name, I was like, oh, cool, he's going to his, usual name. But I was like, I didn't realize I would have a hard time finding this album. Like, he probably should put the whole Emmanuel Lambert. However, The Truth, Emmanuel. So his music, the Open Book, his album was the first one that I received, that I was actually like asking God, like, yo, my church was talking about in the youth department back then, like, stop, flooding your mind with other music that doesn't line up to where you're going, to what you believe in. Mm-hmm. As we mentioned, I'm not talking about toting guns, yada, yada. Back then, when I was a little violent kid, sure, why not? But now, no, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to encourage others to do that, right?
Yeah. And
so it's like, I heard his music, the way that he would articulate himself, the vibe felt good, his message, and overall, I was like, man, I felt like he had some bars. And I like the way that he would like over enunciate certain parts of the bars when it comes to the punchline and stuff like that. And for me, it just stood out a lot. And so with that, that inspired me a lot to even write music, make music, and do it in a direction with purpose and with a message. So, yeah,